Scrapbooking, and this is the May paper pumpkin called Mountain Majesties. And I actually did this in June, the beginning of June, because it was Father's Day and I needed a Father's Day card. So I needed to make my cards real quick and jump April. So yes, I am way behind. But look at these pretty cards, and they're so perfect. You can make birthday cards, Father's Day cards, You Mean the World to Me, the one on the far right. So you can make all sorts of nice kind of male-oriented cards for whatever purpose. So here we go. I'm going to unpack the paper pumpkin and look at all the pieces that are inside. I just kind of wanted to give you a view of what the cards looked like, what was coming your way. So here are the stamps, and those little things that I initially thought were hearts are actually birds, flocks of birds and a few birds together. And then you get this really nice, well, it's along with Happy Father's Day, Happy Birthday, Best Dad Ever, I Love You, You Mean the World to Me, what else? Other things. So Misty Moonlight is the stamping spot that you get with this kit. And here are all the pieces. And of course, what I especially love, I can see right away that they've used the watercolor look for the envelopes. So I personally just love the watercolor look. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the pieces here. So we've got the stamp, we've got our stamping spot, and we've got some double stick tape there. Just get this undone. Excuse me. I sound kind of hoarse. That's okay. So here are the instructions and the printed version of what the stamps are, so you don't have to hold them up to the light to figure out which one's which. So here are those envelopes. So I think they're beautiful. And here's some vellum hiding in the depths of the envelopes there. So a whole big package of three-dimensional spots, dots, and a little sheet of sentiments, place to stamp our sentiments. And we've got 3 cards and some more vellum. I love all the vellum that they're using with this. And they're just so easy to pull out. What I love, and I'm pulling out all 3 at the same time because they're that easy to take off of their carrier card. So I'll sort through and figure out which one goes where with what background. Pardon me. So here are the first set of cards. And, you know, if you want to really stretch your dollar, you can separate the back from the front and then adhere the pieces onto some white cards if you've got some white cards already made up. And that way you can actually double the number of cards that you make from this kit. So you would normally make 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs, but you could actually make 9 if you were so inclined. I have quite a collection of cards, and if I wanted to do that, or if I was selling my cards, then I would definitely do that. And some people even cut up the envelopes to make backgrounds for cards. So you could have another 9 backgrounds for cards. So you could actually make, 27 cards in all out of this kit. So that would be just crazy savings of money. So here's the background, and it obviously goes with those mountains with the trees. So I'm also separating all 3 at once. And there's a nice little sentiment on this, and it goes with that set also. So thank you for being the person you are. So that could go for Father's Day. It could go for just an I love you card. I'm thinking of you. Happy birthday. That sentiment can go with pretty much anything. It's even just a, hey, how are you? I'm thinking of you, and this is, I think you're wonderful. So there we go. We'll put those out of the way, and here's our key to what all the stamps are. So I'm gonna save those in probably a sandwich baggie, and so I can easily, you can use these stamps a zillion times. So here are our instructions, and what I need to do is sort what goes with what. So that's going to take a little bit of time to see which goes where. Okay, I'm just sorting through all these pieces, trying to figure out what goes where. So I have to say, it's a little confusing, until you start really looking at the shapes and the colors, and you can kind of figure out which goes where and which side is up on the vellum. So that one is going to go with the trees, that particular vellum. And then we've got all of our little blocks for the sentiments. So I'm just going to set them up there and get ready to stamp those later on. So we've got some larger ones and some thinner ones. For the, the different, some need more space than others, some of the sentiments. So I'm going to do these in the order that they're in the instructions. That makes sense, right? And, when I first started this, well over a month ago, because it had to be before Father's Day, I was just going to make one each of the cards. But then somehow a month and a half passed, and I'm trying to figure out where I am on this video, and realized that one of the cards never got finished. So this poor video has been sitting here waiting since the probably beginning of June. Pitiful. And now it's the very end of July. It's really pitiful. But anyway, so here we go. I'm putting these three-dimensional pieces on. I'm just trying to figure out which goes where and what goes first and which one gets the dots. And fortunately, the instructions, you can tell that the instructions, where they're octagons or hexagons, whatever they are, that's the three dimensionals, and then the long pieces are just the flat tape. So this is what I'm figuring here. There's a lot of pieces here. So there's 4 to add to the dimension of this card, which, it's great for adding interest to a card. So the little one gets the hexagons. Now, I will tell you, throughout all these cards, sometimes I change things up. Sometimes I thought, well, that's a little bit too much dimension, and so I just used the flat tape. So it's just kind of, if you feel like things are getting too deep, then just use the tape. It's up to you. But you want to make sure that you've got the pieces in the right order, because you want to hide the tape or the dimensionals that's on the vellum especially. So here we're putting the tape down, and then that piece will go on top where the tape is. So you're not going to see any bits of the three-dimensional pieces or the tape that's on the vellum. So now we're going to put a Happy Father's Day on one of the thinner strips. And I will have these ready for next year. So that's the good thing is, you know, I mean, I give credit to the people who sell their cards, because I think these Stampin' Up cards, the paper pumpkin cards, are really nice looking cards, and they're great to sell like in a floral shop, especially for people that want no sentiments on the inside and they just have, you know, a basic thing on the outside, and then they can write their own little note on the inside. I mean, I think that's a great place to, you know, try to sell your cards. But I keep a big box of them to have handy so I don't have to go out shopping and spend $7 for one card. So here we put our Happy Father's Day. And then we've got the little birds that go on, you know, way in the background. So here's the first little group, which is there. Now you want to make sure that you've got their little wings pointing upward when you're doing this. They actually look like little hearts. That's what I thought it was to begin with, but then when I realized where they were going, it's like, oh, that's a flock of birds. So very cool. So I'm just going over, kind of rubbing the stamp initially on my skin to get off any remnants that might be there, and then I ink them up, do a test run first. And usually these Stampin' Up stamps just need a once stamping, and you're good. So here are the rest of the cards. And like I said, now these, you don't have to make all Father's Day cards because we've got a happy birthday sentiment in here. So, you know, it seems to be harder to come across happy birthdays for men. It's always harder to find things for men to me. Clothes, you name it. Their clothes are not as fun as female clothes are. It's just, everything is kind of more boring with men. So I'm going to have a number of cards available at my whim for my husband and my son and anybody else, any other friends. So see, this is why you want to cover up right there. So you still have the look of vellum, but you want to make sure that you don't put the vellum all the way over to the far side, because then you'll have to pull it off and you'll see through it. So you want to be careful and aware of where you're putting your dots, your dimensionals. So I've got, here we go. And I'll put some more. I do like these birds, I have to tell you. I really like these birds. So there's the little group. Looks to me like they're trying to catch up to the big group. So they're so small, so they look like they're really far away, and I like how their wings are in different stages of flapping. So very cool. So I got best dad ever, you're the greatest, happy birthday to a wonderful man, and you mean the world to me. I didn't do a good job of that. So you flip it over and you do it again. So I might share some of these cards with my daughter-in-law. So they've now been married for a year. They were married a year on July 13th, my son's birthday. And so I'll just give her some cards. So she's got some cards at hand, so she doesn't have to run to the store either, because they have a little one now, and it's completely wonderful. This child is just amazing. But she's got her hands full. So she's mom and a school nurse. So definitely has her hands full. So I just love all of these colors together. And it's kind of interesting that they didn't, they didn't stop the design, even though the design gets covered up with these other pieces. So it kind of helps you figure out where you're, supposed I couldn't find my scissors. I had to had to run next door and get a pair of scissors. I don't know if somebody disappeared with them or I did. And, the poker tool, I have to say, that works so much better than fingernails for everything. See, I'm not putting anything over on the far other side. I'm just putting two there so that they can get covered up. And then another one there. And this time I'm not going to add dimension to it. I'm just going to add a flat piece of tape. So that's different than what I've done with the others. So it's up to you what you want to do, if you want to use it, if you want to add more dimension to it, or if you want to just kind of put it flat. And then we're going to have I think I'm making a happy birthday. So first time I'm using this stamp, so give it a couple of goes. And it's such a good color blue. I love this color blue. And I decided, well, that piece is a little bit big, so I am just going to add a little distressing by using the edge of the stamping spot to just kind of give it a little bit more texture instead of just being a flat white piece. I still like it down there. And I add my little birdies. And here we go. So it's a nice mountain scene. It's not Plano, Texas, that's for darn sure. Okay, here we go for our forest and lake. Looks like something you'd see in Tahoe, with ponderosa pines and the big lake. So I'm just kind of going by the instructions, and this gets all sorts of dimension on it. And I'm still trying to figure out, where does this go? I don't know. Nope. 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 Yep. So all of those pieces are going, there's a square bottom. So they're lining up with the bottom of the card. And I really love vellum. And I particularly love these colors. See, that poker tool works so much better than my fingers do. So it's kind of funny to cover up so much on the card, isn't it? But that's how you do it. And we're just kind of mimicking, in some extent, to what's there. Now this gets offset on the white piece. So that's going to go down on the card, and then that is going to go, and I'm trying to, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm trying to make it equidistant on the three sides. That's my idea. I got a little crooked though. And that's how that goes. So that helps to make the darker piece sentiment kind of stand out a little bit. And then we've got a couple of birds far, far away. And then we've got our trees. And okay, so now the trees really need to be, some pieces just scream, I've got to be dimensional. And you want the trees to stick out. So they're going to go on top of the trees that are there. Like that. And so you get a little shadow edge around those trees. So I really like that one. They're just so, they're very nice and masculine. And I don't know if that's, the right thing to say, but they do have a nice manly touch to them. So it's kind of like either envelope, either the green or the blue would be fine with that. And then the cards that come later, they're much easier to put together because you've kind of done it already. So you kind of know what you're doing. And that just makes it go a little bit faster. I say that and then I promptly act like I have no clue, like this is the first time I've seen it. What is the problem with me? Anyway, I'm putting my dimensionals on the trees. And I love using the poker tool to get the backings off the dimensionals. And so that's going on there, and then I'm going to do tape here. Sometimes when you use dimensionals on all your pieces, it kind of makes them stick out too much. So I'm going to add this right down to the very bottom edge of the vellum. And then I'm going to pop up the whole piece. So I took 3 pieces and turned it into 1 piece, and now I'm popping it up. So as you do these, you can come up with your own little technique to make it a little bit faster. It's nice. And I do like using this piece, the extra white, to have the blue stick out. And this one I'm just going to use the tape on there and not dimensionals. And then stick it down. Get your poker tool. See, somehow I always get slightly crooked. And I decided that, it's kind of boring. When you've distressed edges for as long as I have, it's kind of boring sometimes just to see a plain white edge. So it just adds a little definition to it. But you certainly don't have to do it. Okay, there's another card. And, I will tell you, and I've said this before, that I do like cards that have the back of the card has some printing to it, something that looks something other than plain white. And so that's why I don't take my cards apart. And I also don't cut my envelopes up because I really, really like a decorated envelope. I'm taking that light edge off of the bottom there. It just doesn't look like it's supposed to be there to me. Anyway, I really like decorated envelopes. And so I am just not too inclined to take the envelopes and to cut them up and use those as backgrounds. Although, if you need to make your pennies go as far as possible, which who doesn't in these days, then you can certainly do that. It's up to you. It's what do you like? You see, I didn't get that on there straight either. I'm getting a little shaky, I have to tell you. but I think it's healthy to keep an artistic, some creative tasks going for the fingers and the mind. And my birds, gotta have my birds. I was thinking that could be used on the inside. That could totally be used on the inside. But I can also put some of those single line sentiments on the inside if I wanted to. And off they come. And here we go. And I will tell you, just I had a website that had my name on it, Dorothy. It's .stampin'up.com, but I don't anymore. I think it was costing me too much. So if you want to buy from me, and I would appreciate it, you can just go to the Stampin' Up website and put in Dorothy Smith for your consultant if you want to. I would appreciate it. You know, if you have your own consultant, that's fine. But I had to get rid of my website because I was not bringing in any money. Just from, I lost my customers from close to my heart. So that's, you know, just the way it goes. Not complaining, just is what it is. So here is the final design. And this definitely has kind of a southwestern flair to it with the colors, I think. So I'm going to put that there, and then this one's going to, going to go on top of, doesn't want to behave. My hands aren't behaving too well. And here comes our dimensional piece. Very smooth mountains. And it looks like sand dunes in the back. And I am going to put, they suggest, I think that you mean the world to me, going across the sun. So that's going right across the sun. And just because I like my birds, I'm putting some on there. They don't show that there's any birds on this. So, and I didn't get that on there just perfect. So now what I'm going to do, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be ripping it apart. So I'm just going to cut off the edge here so it's even with the one side. There we go. Okay, and here comes the next card. And I can go ahead and put this up there now. I'm just thinking those birds are flying in front of the mountain. Okay, so I'm using the leftovers of the piece here because why not? I mean, you know, it's you might as well. It's the same stuff. No less stickum, and so you might as well just use everything and get the most out of, you know, get the most out of what you're buying here. You know, nothing's cheap anymore. And, you know, just get the most out of it. So go ahead and use up the weird pieces. And then we've got our 3. And we're going to cover up where we have our dimensionals on our vellum. There we go. And this is just kind of a just because card. It looks nice with the blue. So we're at the end of it. I've put all the cards together somehow. Somehow I got through it. And here I'll use that color to go with that card. So you can see all three designs and the envelopes. So there we go. Great guide cards, just great guide cards. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now. Hi, this is Dorothy with Scrapbooking. Thanks for watching my channel. Please subscribe and learn along with me. Thank you. Bye-bye.